Okay, ready to explore something a little different. We're going to dive deep into David Deida's Finding God Through Sex.
Forward by Ken Wilber?
Yeah, forward by Ken Wilber,
Nice
exactly.
title, huh?
It is kind of grabs
That's
you,
pretty
right?
good.
It suggests we can, what is it, find some profound sense of unity.
Yeah, like a spiritual awakening, but through sex.
Right, right. But not in any, like, traditional religious sense.
More like tapping into that boundless love, that connection to, well, something bigger than ourselves.
Like a lot of people are looking for that, searching for meaning.
Absolutely.
But finding God through sex
Yeah.
might sound, I don't know, a bit intimidating maybe to some people.
I could see that.
Like where do you even begin to approach that?
Well, the data really emphasizes understanding these energies, you know. He calls them masculine and feminine.
Oh.
But, and this is important, it's not about traditional gender roles.
Okay.
It's talking about archetypes. These universal energies, they exist within all of us, regardless of, well, gender identity, sexual orientation, all that.
Gotcha. So how do these archetypes, these masculine and feminine energies, how do they actually play out in our lives? Especially, when it comes to intimacy.
You can think of it this way. Masculine energy, it's often associated with direction, with focus, this drive towards purpose.
Okay.
Like a laser beam, very focused, penetrating.
Ah, okay.
The feminine, it's more receptive, it's expansive, it's flowing like water, embracing everything it touches.
Okay, so in a sexual context then, does that mean like men should be dominant and women submissive?
Not at all.
Okay.
It's not about like imposing rigid roles. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing the interplay of these energies within each of us.
Mhm.
Both men and women, we all have masculine and feminine aspects, and it's the dance between these energies that creates the spark, the connection.
I can see how that could be powerful, but how does this lead to finding God or experiencing a spiritual awakening?
Well, Deida argues one of the key paths is through surrender.
Surrender.
Yeah,
See, a lot of people have trouble with that word, especially, in the context of sex.
sure.
So how does he address that resistance we might feel?
He describes it as, well, letting go of resistance,
Okay.
letting go of our tight grip on, well, who we think we are, and just opening fully to the experience.
Hmm.
He uses this great analogy. Imagine a whirlpool, intensely focused, swirling on itself.
Yeah.
Surrender is like that whirlpool, letting go of its tight structure and merging with the boundless power and depth of the ocean.
I like that. That's a beautiful image.
It is.
So in a relationship then, would it look like, constantly giving in to your partner
Yeah.
or compromising your needs?
Not quite.
Okay.
It's more about releasing the need to control,
Okay.
to manipulate, or to force things to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being present with what is, with your partner, with yourself, without trying to change anything or fix anything.
Sounds like a lot of inner work involved there to truly surrender.
Definitely.
Deida himself, he struggled with this too, right?
Absolutely. He shares a very personal story about feeling insecure and needy in a relationship.
Yeah.
And he realized that his desire to possess his partner, it stemmed from a fear of loss,
Oh, wow.
a need to validate his own worth.
Okay.
By feeling through those emotions, he began to understand that true surrender comes from letting go of that neediness and clinging.
So it's about surrendering to our deepest truth, to the love that already exists within us,
Yes.
rather than clinging to, external sources for validation.
Exactly.
And that ties in nicely with the next key concept Deida explores, openness.
Yeah.
So how does this idea of openness differ from surrender? I mean, are they connected in some way?
They definitely go hand in hand.
Okay.
Deida suggests that things we often view as like purely physical or material sex, money, even meditation, they can be used for like childish security or as pathways to express our deepest love and openness.
So our intentions determine whether, we're using these things for superficial gain
Yeah.
or for genuine connection.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
True openness, it's not about achieving a particular state or, changing your body or mind.
Right.
It's about shifting your attention from those superficial concerns to a deeper awareness of your true nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's about approaching every experience, even something as simple as like being in the kitchen with your partner,
Yeah.
as an opportunity to connect with the sacredness of the present moment.
He uses a really powerful anecdote about a couple experiencing, a profound sense of connection just in their kitchen.
Yes. He describes them feeling the quickness, the fragility of life, being
Oh.
consumed by this love fire, as he calls it, essentially dying in love in that very moment.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
It is very vivid imagery.
It sounds like they were tapping into something truly transformative. Can we really access that kind of depth of connection through everyday experiences? Or is it something that requires, specific practices or techniques?
That's where the concept of desire comes into play.
Okay.
And Deida explores this through a rather intriguing character named Mykonos.
Iconos.
Yeah, Mykonos, he challenges this whole idea that spiritual growth requires, suppressing desire.
Hmm.
He actually sees embracing desire as essential to the journey.
Okay, that's pretty counterintuitive. Most spiritual traditions, they emphasize detachment,
Right.
transcending earthly desires.
Right.
So how does Mykonos, how does he reconcile these seemingly opposing ideas?
He kind of cuts through the spiritual jargon and gets right to the point,
Yeah.
asking questions like, what is a vagina anyway? A lotus of delight or an ugly cut of mucus?
Oh, wow.
It's his way of reminding us that our bodies, with all their messy and beautiful aspects, they're part of the journey,
Yeah.
not something to be denied or transcended.
So he's encouraging like a radical acceptance of our physical selves and
Yeah.
our desires.
Exactly.
Is that what he means by embracing desire?
Yeah, he highlights the hypocrisy of trying to be spiritual while rejecting the very things that make us human.
Mm-hmm.
He sees desire as this powerful energy source that can be harnessed and transformed into something more profound.
Okay, Deida describes a scene where Mykonos actually offers him beer and cigarettes,
Yeah.
challenging his tendency toward inwardness and purity.
Right.
Was that Mykonos' way of saying, like, listen up, enjoy life a little?
It was more about confronting those limiting beliefs we often hold about ourselves and what it means to be spiritual.
Okay.
Mykonos teaches this powerful practice of magnifying sexual desire through sex without release, converting animal lust into what he calls a fury of love.
Sounds intense.
It can be.
So it's not about suppressing desire then.
Yeah.
It's about transforming it.
Exactly. Channeling that raw energy, that intensity into a deeper connection with yourself and your partner.
Makes me think about the importance of choosing the right partner then. Someone who is open to exploring this level of intensity and spiritual connection.
Absolutely. Mykonos emphasizes choosing partners who share a similar depth of attention
Okay.
and spiritual direction.
Mhm.
He argues that a man's attractiveness to women, it isn't solely based on physical attributes,
Right.
but rather the freedom of his attention.
His presence.
Exactly, his ability to be fully present and engaged.
So it's about energetic alignment and a shared journey of growth
Yeah.
rather than just like superficial attraction.
Right, and this brings us back to those masculine and feminine energies we were talking about.
Yeah, how do they factor into finding a partner who's aligned with our path?
Well, Deida suggests that men and women, they often experience sexual essence and spiritual growth differently.
Okay.
Men, he argues, they tend to prioritize goals over feelings, which can lead to, a sense of dissatisfaction.
Yeah, always striving, always
Mhm.
looking for what's next.
Exactly, always waiting for one day when things will be perfect.
Right. Never really appreciating the present moment.
Exactly. So what about women then? How do they tend to experience this journey differently?
Yeah, that's a good question.
He observes that women might neglect their potential for growth by getting caught up in their emotions and relationships.
Okay.
Not that emotions are bad, but focusing solely on them can lead to, neglecting one's own individual path and purpose.
It's like a delicate balance then.
It is.
How do we cultivate both that emotional connection and individual growth without losing ourselves in the process?
Deida outlines the stages of a woman's need for what he calls masculine gifts,
Okay.
which aren't about material things, but rather, the energetic exchange between partners.
Okay.
These needs, they evolve from, basic needs like affection and commitment to a deeper level of connection, a shared purpose, the freedom to explore one's full potential.
And what about trust? How does trust play into this dynamic? Deida talks a lot about the importance of a woman's trust in a man.
He does. He argues that a woman's trust in a man, it can empower him to step into his fullest potential. It creates a space where he feels safe to express his talents and strengths without fear of judgment or rejection.
Sounds like a reciprocal dynamic then, where both partners are supporting each other's growth and evolution.
Exact.
That leads into the idea of sexual availability and embodiment, another concept that Deida emphasizes.
Yeah.
He mentions an anecdote where he was feeling tired, not really in the mood, but chose to be present with his partner's advances.
Right. And that anecdote highlights the importance of, moving beyond our habitual patterns of resistance
Oh, yeah.
and choosing to be open to connection, even when we don't feel particularly, turned on.
Right.
Deida suggests that sexual availability is a sign of open-heartedness and an energetic fullness.
So it's not just about being physically available. It's about being emotionally and energetically open to our partner.
Exactly.
He contrasts that with sexual closure, which he views as a form of unlove and dissociation from the body.
Right. He asks this really thought-provoking question. How often do we truly allow ourselves to be present in our bodies, feeling the flow of energy and sensation?
Wow, that is a powerful question.
It is.
He emphasizes the importance of, genital readiness
Yeah.
as a sign of truly inhabiting our bodies.
He asks, does energy flow through your body when your partner touches you lovingly?
Mm-hmm.
It's about cultivating that aliveness, that responsiveness in our bodies, not
Yeah.
just going through the motions.
So being fully present.
Exactly. And Deida suggests that humor can be a powerful way to open to masculine energy,
Oh, okay.
allowing ourselves to be playful, spontaneous, embrace the unexpected.
So it's not about being, super serious or overly spiritual.
No.
It's about bringing a sense of lightness and joy to the experience.
Right. And, this all seems to connect with that idea of loving as the cosmos loves, which Deida introduces towards the end of the book.
Yeah, loving as the cosmos loves. Can you elaborate on what he means by that?
This is where Deida encourages us to shift our perspective and see our partner as a sacred incarnation of the divine,
Okay.
recognizing the inherent divinity in each other and approaching intimacy as a way to liberate each other from limitations.
It sounds like a profound shift from seeing our partner as just another individual to recognizing a deeper essence that connects us all.
It is.
Does he provide any examples of what this looks like in practice?
He shares a really powerful experience of feeling connected to all beings while making love, seeing his partner's body as the earth itself, and experiencing this profound sense of unity and oneness.
Wow.
It's about transcending the boundaries of the individual self,
Yeah.
merging with something much larger.
That's incredibly powerful. But for those of us who haven't, experienced that level of connection, it can be hard to even imagine what that feels like.
Right, and Deida suggests that contemplating death can actually help us connect with the present moment
Okay.
and appreciate the preciousness of life.
It sounds a bit morbid, but I can see how, facing our own mortality could help us strip away those false pursuits and connect with what truly matters.
Exactly. By recognizing the impermanence of everything, we can let go of clinging to the past or worrying about the future
Yeah.
and fully embrace the beauty and vulnerability of the present moment.
So it's about bringing that depth of awareness and presence into our sexual experiences,
Yeah.
recognizing that every moment is a gift, a chance to connect with something larger than ourselves.
Exactly.
So we've been exploring this book, Finding God Through Sex,
Yeah.
and it's clear Deida's advocating for, a very different approach to intimacy and spirituality, It's not about seeking pleasure or validation, but rather tapping into this wellspring of energy and love
Yeah.
that exists within each of us.
He's challenging us to see sexual energy as a powerful force for transformation and connection,
Yeah.
encouraging us to be fully present, embrace our true selves, and approach intimacy with open hearts and minds.
It seems like a recurring theme is this idea of letting go.
Surrender.
Surrender, yeah, whether it's surrendering to our partner, our desires, or the present moment.
Yeah.
It feels like a key to unlocking that deeper level of connection Deida talks about.
He does. And, Deida himself struggled with this idea of surrender. He shares his personal journey of grappling with neediness and insecurity in relationships.
Oh, wow.
Realizing that his desire to possess, it stemmed from fear, a lack of self-worth.
It's encouraging to hear that, even someone like Deida, who writes so eloquently about these concepts,
Right.
he faced his own challenges.
Absolutely. It makes it feel more relatable.
Or human.
Yeah, more human. And he emphasizes that this journey is unique for each individual.
Right.
There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
But throughout the book, he seems to suggest that by cultivating these qualities of surrender, openness, a willingness to embrace our desires, we can transform our sexual energy into something truly transformative.
Exactly. He uses such vivid imagery and anecdotes
He does.
to paint a picture of what's possible when we approach intimacy with that level of awareness and intention.
This whole conversation, it's made me realize how often we approach sex with a sense of expectation or a desire for a specific outcome.
Right.
It's almost like we're trying to control the experience
Yeah.
rather than allowing ourselves to be fully present and open to what might unfold.
And that control, it often stems from fear.
Fear.
Yeah, fear of vulnerability, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough.
Okay.
Daida challenges us to face those fears,
Yeah?
embrace the fullness of who we are, both in and out of the bedroom.
I keep coming back to this question, what if the key to a more fulfilling life, both spiritually and sexually, lies not in seeking external validation
Right.
or clinging to familiar patterns,
Yeah.
but in surrendering to the boundless love that resides within us all?
It's a powerful question.
It is.
And one that Daida invites us to explore through his work.
Yeah.
He offers such a unique perspective on intimacy and spirituality, urging us to question our assumptions, embrace a more conscious, embodied approach to life and love.
So if you're looking for a deeper connection, a path to something more fulfilling,
Yeah.
maybe finding God through sex is worth exploring.
It might be.
It's definitely a challenging read, but it might just spark something within you.
It's a book that stays with you long after you've finished reading it.
I bet.
It invites us to reconsider our beliefs about intimacy, spirituality, the very nature of love itself.
That's powerful.
And who knows, it might just lead you to a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you.